G'day everyone. Today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. I still haven't got my microphone, so I apologise for the bad audio. My mics are arriving tomorrow, so please bear with me. Don't think this is always what it's going to be like with the bad audio. I'm pretty sure my mics are going to arrive tomorrow, and the audio will be pretty good from there on out. So going to look at something a little bit different than what we've looked at so far. So today we're going to look at a New Zealand whiskey. This whiskey is Goleta. This is by 1919, bottled at 46% ABV. I've also had the cask strength version of this, which I probably prefer, but I had to try the 46% just to give it a go. Again, spoiler alert, I'm not disappointed. It's really good. So let's crack it open. In my case, pour a dram and get on with it. So again, this is going to be the end of the bottle. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm going to tell you at the end of this if I'm going to replace it. Oh, I want to get every single drop of this because it's really good. Alright, here we go. Let's have a wee smell. Exceptional. For New Zealand whiskey, this is exceptional. A little bit of background for you. So, 1919 Goleta is a New Zealand whiskey inspired by the country's whiskey heritage. So the name Goleta refers to a historic sailing vessel that carried whiskey barrels around New Zealand in the late 1800s. So making it a very fitting tribute to local whiskey history. As I've already said, bottled at 46%. Great place to start. It's just going to give whiskey more of a body, more flavour than the standard 40 to 43% bottlings. Beautiful. Before I go too much further, I want to talk a little bit about how I got into drinking whiskey, because I haven't been into whiskey for too long. So the truth of the matter is, during the lockdowns here in New Zealand, I'd always smoked a cigar once a year, twice a year, every now and again. In fact, the best birthday present I've ever been given in my entire life is my brother-in-law Jamie and sister-in-law Andrea gave me a box of cigars for my birthday. They were travelling overseas. It was duty-free. They sent them back to me. A box of cigars, amazing. And I had always smoked cigars periodically. One a year, two a year, if that. Maybe even one every couple of years, I don't know. But during lockdown, I was looking for some cigars. I thought, hey, why not? Sitting at home by myself, why don't I have a cigar? I came across an online retailer called Canteros. I'm going to put some links in the description. I ordered, I don't know, 3 or 4 cigars. I'm sure I can look back at my order history and have a look, but no big order or anything, just a couple of cigars from Canteros, New Zealand. And Grant, the cigar merchant, he runs Canteros. He sent me a few cigars, but wait, there's more. He also sent me a cutter, free of charge. I don't think I even had a cutter before that. I think I just used a razor blade or scissors or something very troglodyte. Something that you really shouldn't be cutting cigars with. But not only that, in the email he sent me a link to a Facebook group that was set up where they had what are called VHUFs. Now a HUF is when a group of people get together and smoke a cigar. A VHUF, or virtual HUF, because we were all in lockdown, was done via Zoom. So he had the link there. I thought, I'm a bit of a shy guy, and thought, I'll have a look. I'll keep my camera off. I'll stay on mute. I'll join this group, and I'll just have a look and see what goes on. Well, you know, 5 minutes into it, I had the camera off and the microphone on and chatting to guys all across New Zealand and sometimes across the world. We just had a great time. We'd smoke a cigar. You sit with a cigar, you sit down. I happen to have one. I don't know what YouTube's going to do to this, so I'm not actually going to stick it in my mouth, but I've got a cigar going at the moment. This is an Undercrown, Drew Estate. I can't remember the exact variety, but I got this. It's a New World cigar, which I got from Grant at Canteros. I'm going to go back to this shortly. Yeah, so we sat down, talking about cigars, talking about life, talking about stuff, mostly blokes. The odd Sheila would join, usually a partner of someone or whatever. It's open to anyone. But to be fair, it's mostly blokes, and we just talked about life. Keeping each other sane during that lockdown period. Now these guys, some of them, were into their whiskies. One of the guys that used to join regularly was Soren, who happened to be the distiller of Goleta from 1919, and another lovely gentleman by the name of Ash Palmer, who runs an online whiskey store called 8pm. So there was I'd never really been interested in whiskey. My greatest experience with whiskey was having something like a Southern Comfort, which of course they used to give me no end of grief about, that I liked Southern Comfort. Well, sure enough, talking to Ash and some of these other guys, I ended up saying to Ash, well, I like quite high ABV. I knew I liked high ABV whiskies already, because I liked the Black Label Southern Comfort. I can't remember what it is, but it's a higher ABV. I said, what would you recommend? Send me something. So I started buying whiskies from 8pm.co.nz. I'd have to check that. If you Google 8pm, you'll find his store. Spelt the full word, not the number 8, but EIGHT, 8pm. The rest is history. I just went down a rabbit hole and started getting into whiskey. Loving it. Mostly Scotch, mostly cask strength that he would send me in the first instance. I went through quite a few bottles of Glenfarclas 105, because that's around 60% ABV whiskey. Beautiful whiskey. I'm going to pick this back up again. This Goleta. Beautiful. Fruit, ripe apples, honey, vanilla. It's a sherry cask whiskey, so been in PX casks, Pedro Jimenez, butcher the name, but PX casks. It's non-age stated whiskey. Not actually sure what the laws are in New Zealand. I don't think you have to have the whiskey in a cask for a certain period of time, like you do with Scotch, which I talked about, I think in the last video, I talked about that. It has to be minimum of 3 years in a cask. I'm not sure that's the same in New Zealand. And comparatively speaking, I think Goleta is probably a younger iteration. I didn't do any research to try and work out how young, but it's definitely younger. A little bit rougher. Definitely a little bit of funkiness to it, but definitely what most people would call smooth, or those in the know would call approachable. Very approachable. 46%. It's not full of ethanol burn, alcohol burn. It's very approachable, beautiful. So yeah, we get together and talk about cigars, talk about whiskey, talk about everything, and that's really where I dove down the whole rabbit hole of whiskey and cigars, really. This is amazing. I This is the best New Zealand whiskey that I've tasted by a long shot. Although I have to say, this is the second best. I prefer the cask strength. It's, I can't remember the actual ABV, but it's 60 plus. If you know, chuck it in the comments or something. Let me know. I'll probably have a bit of a look after this as well. But this is just a beautiful whiskey. On the palate, cinnamon, nutmeg. There's definitely those darker fruits that you get from a sherry cask, but it's all really well balanced. There's no smoke, no peat smoke that I'm detecting, and I'm not just getting those dark fruits, but I'm actually getting some of the lighter fruits, like, you know, apple and pear. Delicious, pleasant, warming spice. Very well balanced and very easy drinking. I could drink a lot of this. Probably call it a medium finish. From memory, the 60% the cask strength version, bit of a longer finish as you'd sort of expect. Yeah, on the finish, getting a bit of oak. I don't know too much about the casks that 1919 put it in, but I would imagine they are first fill, as in first fill since they've had PX sherry in them. Leaves me wanting more. Yeah, amazing. I think this is really good for someone who's right into whiskey, but also it's very approachable. So, you know, less experienced drinkers are going to really enjoy this. It's not a sherry bomb, even though it's PX. You know, it's not a peat monster. There's no peat. And because I've lit my cigar and been smoking it a bit before I tasted this, I've got a bit of that cigar anyway. So if there was a slight hint of smoke, I wouldn't pick it up at the moment. Yeah, would it be my everyday dram? Yes. And the key question that I have been answering is, will I replace it? 100% I will replace this. Now that it's empty, I'm going to put it in an order. They have, in the whiskey lineup, 1919 also have First Light and, I have to look, Trans-Pacific. So First Light bourbon casks and Trans-Pacific ex-rum casks, if I'm right. If I'm wrong, tell me off in the comments. But it's, yeah, amazing. For a New Zealand whiskey that punches way above its weight, and yeah, I'll definitely be replacing this one. There's no two ways about it. It's excellent. And I'll also be placing another order for more cigars from Grant at Canteros. If you're in the market for whiskey or cigars, this is not sponsored, and I'm only sending you to these guys because I trust them and use them myself. So for whiskey, I go to 8 PM. For cigars, I go to Grant at Canteros. Give them a go. Yeah, really good guys, really honest guys, and they'll look after you. If you flick either of them a personal message and say, hey, can you make a suggestion, they 100% will. They're passionate about what they do, and that comes through in their business online. I'm not sure. Yeah, Grant will have to be a little bit careful about what he suggests because the laws are very tight in New Zealand. Yeah, come to me. Ask me for a suggestion. Give me an idea, and I'll send you in the right direction because I can. He might not be able to. I think he can just give you a plain price list in New Zealand. We're not allowed to have cigar bans or too many descriptives about them. Whiskey, absolutely. We can talk as much as we like. And I know that Ash has a little chat thing on his website. You can go and ask a question there. Either Ash or his brother Gary who also works in the business, family business. They'll come back and give you advice on it. Again, not sponsored. They've given me nothing for free. This is all unsolicited, just because I really rate these guys, and they're amazing at what they do. If you're enjoying this content, then give me a like, give me a subscribe. This is a personal request. I'm not just talking to the camera, I'm talking to you watching it. It will make a difference in whether or not I carry this on. At the moment, I'm absolutely going to carry it on. I've ordered some microphones and things to make it a bit better and improve. And definitely the content will improve over time. Hey, you've got to give me a bit of grace, because I'm new to this. Third video in, and I'm just learning. So it'll help me. And I'll continue to explore whiskies from Scotland, New Zealand, and my mate Matt, if you watched in the last one, he confirmed he will do a collaboration with me. So I'm looking forward to that as well. We'll get Matt on the channel and get him talking about some American whiskies, which he is really passionate about. So thank you for watching. Slanger, and I'm going to get back to my whiskey and my cigar. Goleta, 1919 Goleta. An amazing wee dram. Slanger.